Okay, so I'm gonna show you now how to do the buttonholes. Also, a little tip, it looks here like I'm at the end of the row, but I'm actually not. There's one more stitch here that is really easy to miss. So it's right there. So that's the front loop and this is the back loop. It happened to me a couple of times actually that I completely missed it. So be careful. So I always stretch it a little bit with a yarn needle so it's easier to insert my hook. And then change to a smaller hook. Do my last stitch and then go up. Okay, so we're gonna do the first buttonhole here. So in this design, like I said before, this is an even row. And then when you crochet here, this is an uneven row. So in this design, sometimes you're gonna do the buttonhole in even rows and sometimes on uneven rows. But all it means is that sometimes you're gonna leave a little hole here at the beginning of your row, or sometimes you're gonna leave a hole at the end of your row. That's all it means. So for this design as well, I have left 3 stitches and then I've done the buttonhole, just so there's a little bit of fabric in between the buttons and the edges of the top. So I'm gonna do, and again we're in the back of the work, which means that we're gonna grab the back loop. So I'm gonna do 3 stitches, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm gonna chain 1, and I'm gonna skip 1 stitch, and then I'm gonna continue. So I'm skipping this one and I'm gonna continue crocheting, but from the next stitch. That's there. And this is actually gonna be my buttonhole. So then I'm gonna continue crocheting in the back loop, and then when I do the next row up, as you can see, it's almost like invisible, you know, it's really easy to miss. So what I'm gonna do is that when I go on the next row up, I'm gonna do my stitch in here. So instead of inserting it on the stitch, I'm gonna insert it under, and that's gonna define my buttonhole a little bit more. I'll show you when I get there. Okay, so I'm on the next row up, and I'm about to finish my row. So my buttonhole is actually there, but it's really easy to miss. So what I do to make this a bit more obvious and visible is that instead of doing the slip stitch there, I just do it in here. So I grab the whole row, and that's gonna make my little hole here a bit more visible. Also, be careful though when you do this, because it happened to me a couple of times that I kind of skip a stitch because I didn't count well. So you just need to make sure that you have 1, 2, 3 stitches after the buttonhole. Okay, and then so my buttonhole is there. I have 1 more stitch, as you can see, as a normal slip stitch. So let's just do a normal slip stitch, grabbing the front loop. Then we have the buttonhole, so I'm gonna go in under the row, slip stitch, and then I have 3. 1, 2, 3 stitches. So 1. So this obviously, because I'm using a smaller hook, they do tend to get much tighter. 2, and then for the last one, remember this is really easy to miss. I'll just stretch it a little bit. That's my front loop, and this is my back loop. Okay, let's see if I can get it in there. So I'm at the back of the work, which means I need to grab the back loop. 1, anyway, so this row, you're just gonna do it as normal. And let's have a look. So our little hole is there. I'll show you now how to do the hole when you do it at the end of your row. Okay, so now the next buttonhole, we're gonna do it on an uneven row. So remember, the front of the work is always an uneven row. This is where our previous hole is. So when you have to do it on this side of the work, remember that you need to leave 3 stitches and then you'll do your little hole. So 1, 2, 3. Then in here, you're gonna skip this stitch, and which means that I have 1 and 2 more stitches to do before I skip this stitch. So I do 1 and 2, then I chain 1, skip this next stitch, and then do 1, 2, and then 3. This is the stitch that always hides. So let's stretch it a little bit. There. And then here we do 1, 1, 2, and 3. So this is our hole. So again, I'm gonna go under just to define this hole a little bit more. I'm gonna try to do it as tight as possible with this hook there, and then I'm gonna continue crocheting in the back loop. Okay, so I wanted to show you. So this is where I have the 2 holes that I did. I did them one after the other, so obviously that's why they're so close together. And I probably could have gone a bit tighter in here, so then I wouldn't have like this big loop there. So if you go a bit tighter, then it'll be better. So it does stretch quite a bit. So it's for a small button, but as you can see, like I can fit the tip of my finger. So it's like for a small to medium button.